What is going on, everybody? It's it's true. I am live right now. I was looking at my last time I was live, and it was 7 months ago. And I decided I want to kick off 2024 with trying to go live and just kind of talk about the news that's happened over the last week on Sunday nights after everything settled down as we had before we start the brand new week. As we know, I put out a video Monday to Friday at the very least, and sometimes videos on the weekend as well, covering the weekly news. And I feel like let's just talk about what's going on in during the week on a Sunday night after everyone's been able to digest everything that's happened. And yes, I do have beer. I actually have my failed Tennessee Titans the to end a terrible season, although they did get revenge on the Jags this week to knock them out of the playoffs. This is a very big mug, so this holds like two half beers in it. So I do have some beer tonight. I've had a very long weekend, a very long day, and I finally get to sit down and just talk about games. So how's everybody doing? Welcome to this stream. Like I said, I haven't been live in like 7 months, so this is just gonna be me talking and hanging out with you guys. It's nothing crazy, nothing special. I've got to remember how to do this whole live thing. It's been a while, but as you guys can see, I have a new setup. If you're wondering why I wasn't live for so long, is because I was going through two moves and my internet was crappy. I finally got some good internet 2 days ago, so I have like super fast internet now. So hopefully the stream and everything is good and doesn't go down, doesn't get all choppy and everything. So now I actually have the tools to be able to go live. Got a stream deck here, and I'm going to be testing that out. So it should be a fun time. But as we know, it has been a very interesting weekend. I feel like there's lots of things to talk about from the week, but this weekend has definitely overtaken everything. And I'm sure we all know what I'm talking about. And that is the rumors going around right now about Xbox, Nintendo Switch, Hi-Fi Rush, and all that type of stuff. So let me just check my settings here before I continue. Just gonna do I have this on right stuff here? I have subscriber chat, because sometimes if I don't put subscriber chat, I get a lot of weird bots in here. But so far it's so good. I want to make sure. But how's everyone doing? How's everyone weekend been? What have you guys been playing? What have you been up to? I've been jumping in through a lot of backlog stuff, like a lot of old indies that I've wanted to play. Like I've been playing Roller Drome, which is a ton of fun. If you like, it's kind of like Tony Hawk, but with rollerblades and weapons and people trying to kill you. But it's really fun. If you like just like a fun arcade style game, check out Roller Drome. I've been playing Solar Ash, which is like a 3D platformer, and I've been playing Avatar, which may be the best looking game I've seen. It is incredible. I'm playing on the Series X, and I know it looks even way better on like a high end PC, but Series X, it is one of the best looking video games visually I think I've ever seen. Everything with the environments and what they've done in there. So super cool um with that. And it's like kind of like Far Cry, but it isn't. There's definitely a difference between Avatar and Far Cry just in the world, and it's not nearly as um populated. Like it's more, you're exploring and you're not going to get attacked every second, which is nice. But I think it's a fun game so far. Give me 1 second. Where is this setting? All right. So So it has been a wild weekend. It's been a wild weekend with Xbox. It's been a wild weekend with third party stuff. Been a wild weekend with, is Xbox going to be coming full third party? Are they bringing all their games over to the Nintendo Switch? Or what are they doing, right? And there is a lot of speculation. We have no confirmation as to what they are doing, but sources right now what the people are saying is that Hi-Fi Rush is going to be releasing on the Nintendo Switch. And I'll just pull this up here. This was a recent editorial here that Jez Corden wrote today to talk about these rumors and everything on Windows Central Gaming. And in the here, he's talking about the rumors, he's talking about the messaging, and he is saying that from his sources, his well-trusted sources, that this rumor is going to be true. Question is, when will they announce it if it is true, and what does this mean going forward? So I think the biggest thing here, I was like been on social media looking at what people are talking about and stuff. And if you watched my channel from the very beginning, I've always said that I'm just reading some comments here. I've always said when it comes to games, when it comes to people playing games, no matter what platform that they are on, somebody else playing a game on the Switch or on PlayStation, if you're on Xbox, but somebody else playing that game on a different platform does not take away from you at all as a general consumer. It really doesn't matter. Exclusivity in general is just a marketing thing. It's to get people to buy into a platform, and it really only benefits the company selling the game itself. Hi-Fi Rush is an interesting one if they were to put on the Nintendo Switch, but if you think about from a business perspective, it kind of makes sense why they would go ahead with this game going over to the Nintendo Switch. This is a game that was in development before Xbox purchased Bethesda. That's one key point that I don't think anybody really talks about. So they probably already have a Nintendo build for this game. They probably were working on a Nintendo Switch build when they were in development. There was information that they were going to announce this game at E3, and that got pushed back because obviously E3 got canceled. And then they were going to announce it again, but then there was the purchase of the Xbox Bethesda stuff. They purchased Bethesda, so then they got pushed back even more. And then they did the Shadow Drop last year, which a lot of people loved. I thought the Shadow Drop was great, but obviously the Shadow Drop for Hi-Fi Rush wasn't the initial intention of this game. It just wasn't. They wanted to announce it. They wanted to do the regular marketing cycle that they do for video games, but it just happened to have a Shadow Drop because of all the things that kicked the can down the line for a game that realistically, probably when they're looking at this, isn't a game that the publishers out there. I mean, would have been Bethesda, and then it was Xbox when it did release. They knew looking at this game, this is more of a niche game. It is a smaller game, so it's not going to have a huge crowd that goes in and plays it. Now, that being said, it did do well. A lot of people love this game. It was one of my favorite games last year. I thought of all the Xbox games that came out, I was thinking Hi-Fi Rush deserved the Game of the Year nomination, even more so than Starfield. I thought Hi-Fi Rush was unique. It was fun. It was something different, and they knocked it out of the park. There was literally no issues with this game from a technical perspective. Like, I didn't run into any bugs or anything. And I thought it was just a phenomenal game. But it wasn't one that was supposed to be Shadow Drop. And it was a game that was in development before Xbox purchased Bethesda. So they probably have a Nintendo Switch build. So they're looking at this and they're probably like, it's a niche game. They want to make more money off of it. What is a way to do this? You put it on the Nintendo Switch. People in Japan are going to probably pick it up and play it on their Switch. Gamers in Japan who only have Nintendo are going to load it up, and hopefully they have the Xbox branding all over it if they're going to do this properly. They want people to see that it's an Xbox game, and it just gets more eyes out there on what Xbox is creating. So from the business perspective, I totally understand why they would want to put this out on the Nintendo Switch. Now, on the other side of things, as a core Xbox fan, the messaging is just so confusing. It is super confusing. I mean, we've already gone through this with Blade. We had to talk about whether Blade, and we're still going to be talking about it, whether Blade is going to be exclusive to Xbox, because they came out at the Game Awards and they didn't put Xbox on the trailer. They didn't put Xbox Game Pass. There was no sign that Blade was an Xbox game. It's an Xbox game if you follow the industry, you follow the studios that are under Xbox. But Game Awards is more of a mainstream gaming show, right? So there's probably a lot of people out there that had no idea who are watching this that Arcane is Xbox and that Blade is Xbox because they didn't put any marketing on it. So we've been talking about that, and now we're jumping over to this with Hi-Fi Rush, and every game Xbox announces now, there's going to be that question. If this rumor is true, we got to keep that. We have to keep that with in mind because this rumor has not been officially confirmed yet. This is all just still insiders, right? That have information, and these insiders have all been wrong on other things. They've been right on things. They've been wrong on things, but until it's officially confirmed, we don't know. It's this If this goes over to the Nintendo Switch, this opens up a can of worms for people always asking and questioning, will this Xbox game be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem? And for core Xbox fans, they're definitely frustrated. They need to know what's going to be there and what isn't going to be there. Xbox has been completely, they haven't really, they've said games from Xbox are going to be wherever Xbox Game Pass is. New IPs was one of the main things that they said. Hi-Fi Rush was a new IP. And if this does go over to the Nintendo Switch, I would say technically they are breaking that rule that they said at the Xbox and Bethesda Roundtable that these new games are going to be wherever Xbox Game Pass is, because this is a brand new IP where there's zero legacy content, zero amount of fans on other platforms. They're only on Xbox right now, and that will change if they do put this on the Nintendo Switch. So the messaging is super weird, what's going on. The other part of this that is weird is we've seen Phil Spencer talk about this type of stuff. Like Phil Spencer specifically talked about porting Xbox games over to the Nintendo Switch. And this was back in 2020, right? When everything was going down with Xbox. They had begun with expanding their ecosystem just before the release of the Xbox Series X and S, where we knew going into that console generation or to this console generation that there isn't going to be any console exclusive Xbox games because they're putting their games everywhere that Xbox is, which I still think is the better strategy. It is the winning strategy going forward, opening up your ecosystem to more people, especially when we're seeing the costs of developing these games, like the leaked documents from Insomniac, where it's like $300 million to develop Spider-Man. It's going to be very hard to only make those games and lock them to a console when I don't know if these numbers have carried over the last year or so, but what we know is that it's about 12 to 14% of people actually buy these first party games. And if that's all, $300 million to develop, 12 to 14% of your consumer base is buying first party. Majority of people on PlayStation aren't picking up a PS5 for first party. They're picking up a PS5 to play Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever. It's going to be hard for them to not take those games and put them everywhere, which is what they've already started to do by putting their games on PC and probably going to be expanding out and putting their games everywhere except for Xbox and Nintendo by putting it out onto the cloud and basically just copying what Xbox is doing. But Phil Spencer said this back in 2020, which is why the messaging is weird, and which is why I hope he comes out this week and just clarifies what is going on to clear it up. He says that this was a recent interview, or not recent now, but in 2020 it was recent. It was an interview with Kotaku, and Phil Spencer said that it doesn't feel sustainable to continue porting Xbox titles over to the Nintendo Switch. The two companies are still on great terms, so Spencer is more interested in creating a full Xbox ecosystem on other platforms than making individual titles available on a competitor's hardware. And it says that Microsoft has had a lot of success with its Switch ports over the past few years, and Ori and the Blind Forest performed well on the Switch, as did the ultra-difficult platformer Cuphead, and we've seen Microsoft-owned Minecraft Steve jump into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a Switch exclusive, and the partnership between the two companies has been fruitful for both, and Spencer agrees that the two have a very good relationship. So the relationship with Nintendo definitely is different than the relationship with PlayStation. PlayStation they've already put games on there. But he then says here that moving forward, however, it appears that team at Xbox is focused on creating a full Xbox ecosystem on other devices. The clearest evidence of this is Xbox Game Pass on Android. You download the app, blah, blah, blah. We already know all that. We're in 2024 now. This has been for years. And then he talks about how it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't feel sustainable to continue porting Xbox games to Nintendo Switch. And now, if we get an announcement 4 years after saying that, it is a very, very confusing messaging. Um, he also says, I think there is something else here. He talked more as well about games coming over to the Switch, and again, not something that they really wanted to do. But we will see what they do. We don't actually fully know. I mean, a lot of people are talking about these rumors, and there's been no confirmation there whatsoever. But again, that's where the issue comes in with this: is the messaging from Phil Spencer and from Xbox and the core fan base. Because the reality of the situation is, although from a business perspective, console exclusivity is a stupid way to go. Not a good way right now as the industry is growing and it's costing more to make games. From the consumer's perspective, there is just like still so many people that base their entire identity on the platform, on how many exclusive games does that platform have. I mean, you look at the PlayStation community, right? It's like literally their entire identity is how many is their exclusive content, which not even majority of them even pick up and play. And it's probably similar on Xbox too. I mean, the majority of people on Xbox probably don't play the first party games. It's probably a smaller percentage, but the I guess the perception and the social media talk, the identity that people attribute to their platform is exclusivity, which this is good. People are going to be pissed off. People are going to be absolutely pissed off if Xbox comes out next week or whatever, or they come out at the direct and announces. I think that would be very stupid because the direct should be specifically like getting all eyes on what Xbox is doing and not bringing attention to the other platform. Then the other side of the coin here is, what is Nintendo giving back to Xbox? Because this is absolutely just a one-way relationship. I guess what they are giving back is money, because everybody who buys these Xbox games on the Switch platform, Xbox makes money, right? Of course. So I guess to them, because it is such a popular platform, it is enough. Um, but and it also helps them, like I said earlier, it helps them gain some more notoriety in places like Japan, where people will play these games on the Switch. Maybe there's people in Japan that have seen Hi-Fi Rush and they're like, yeah, this is a game that I want to play, but I'm not willing to go out and buy an Xbox to play this, or I'm not willing to sign up for a subscription service to play this one game. And now that it's on the Switch, maybe they'll play it, and maybe they will look further into the Xbox, um, the Xbox ecosystem, the Xbox games. All right, anime compilations. Disagree, Plume. People do play Xbox first party games, unlike Sony games. I mean, I'm not saying they don't play. I'm not saying people on Xbox don't play first party. I'm saying, like with any console, the higher percentage of people pick up consoles for reasons other than first party. Like, I guess, well, you know what? That's going to change with Xbox. Now that I say that, that's actually probably going to be, we're going to see these numbers completely different, because Call of Duty is first party, and there's probably a massive, it's probably similar to PlayStation, where the games that are played the most on Xbox are Call of Duty. And now Call of Duty's first party. So hey, I guess, yeah, you're right. That narrative is going to be destroyed if the most played game on Xbox, or in the top 3 or so, is Call of Duty. That's going to be first party, or it is first party going forward. So yeah, that is going to be completely different. But previous to the Activision Blizzard acquisition, you could look at the numbers and you would see that the top played games were Call of Duty, were again like Fortnite, were Rocket League, like those styles of games, Apex Legends, I don't know, Overwatch. I don't know what they actually were, but it's like those games that were the top played games. And people buy consoles because they're cheap to get into versus buying a PC. Their friends are on the platform. It's easy to set up. It's just like a very easy access point. But going forward, Call of Duty is first party. So I guess that completely changes that narrative. All right, welcome. If anybody who's just jumping in now, if you've been watching my channel for the last year or so, I streamed last time 7 months ago, and I'm back now. I'm gonna try to stream Sunday nights at 9 p.m. for about up to 2 hours or so, and just talk about what's been going on in gaming news. I've been in the middle of moves. I've been in the middle of really shitty internet, but now my internet's good, so now I can get back to just like streaming and talking with you guys. Um, so I don't know. What do you? The sentiment? It's hard to gauge the sentiment about this. If what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen if this is true. All right, Xbox is going to announce Hi-Fi Rush is coming to the Switch, and it's probably going to end up being a fruitful business decision for Xbox. You're going to have a lot of people probably not really caring. You're going to have Sony fans making fun of Xbox, saying that they are going third party, but then also begging for the Xbox games to come onto PlayStation. And then you're also going to have some Xbox fans that are very, very upset over this because they want to absolutely have that identity of games that are staying on only the Xbox platform and not going anywhere else. But it's will they ever port other games? That's the question, right? What games will they be porting over to the Switch? I mean, if you look at it, if Hi-Fi Rush was funded by Xbox, but not developed by one of their first parties like Ori, it would make complete sense. This announcement would make complete sense that this game was coming over to the Switch. And if you really sit back and you do think about it, as I mentioned, Hi-Fi Rush was in development before Xbox purchased Bethesda. They guarantee essentially that they had a Nintendo Switch build in the works. And that Switch build is just sitting there. Probably does not take much more development time or costs to finish up. And they'll probably be able to sell many copies of this on the Nintendo Switch because of the style of game it is and how many Nintendo Switch platforms are out there. So from the business perspective, it does make sense. If this game was a funded game from a third party like Ori, it absolutely would have ended up on the Nintendo Switch at some point in the future. But then obviously, um, Xbox went in and just said, "Screw it, purchase. We're gonna purchase Bethesda." So that's where we're at. That's where we're at now, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Because the other rumor that is going on here is that the next developer direct is going to be January 14th, the week of January 14th. This comes via the Reddit user Xantorn. Say they've been accurate in revealing showcase events in the past, and they claim that the next Xbox Direct will happen during the week of January 14th. And the first Xbox event of the year is going to be the week of the 14th. They can't speak on the Shadow Drop rumors, but the date has now been set in stone. So what's interesting here about the Shadow Drop rumors is that the game that everyone, I think, has been talking about, that I've seen a lot of people mention, is that Kiln game from Double Fine, and you can actually go see gameplay of Kiln. In fact, I probably can just pull it up here. Pull it up here and show you guys. They have gameplay from 2017. Double Fine has like an internal, I guess, developer convention or something where they showcase their games. They have ideas that they're working on. And this was one of the games that was this is the game that a lot of people are saying is going to be shadow dropped. We'll see. I'm in 720. Yes. Oh no, I was in 240p. Very choppy. So this is like I don't even know. It's like a multiplayer like pottery game. Like you're building a pottery in games, and if that's a shadow drop game, I mean, you put in a Game Pass multiplayer, people will jump in and play it. I don't think it'll have as big of an effect as Hi-Fi Rush did, because Hi-Fi Rush to me was one of the best games I played last year. This, I don't know. I really don't know much about it. And it'll probably one that I really have to play and see a couple, like, for a decent amount of time with people to see if it's something that I do want to play. But this is the one that they're, and obviously this is a 2017 prototype build, so it's not going to look or be like this. If the game has been cooking all the way since then, it's probably going to be significantly better than what we're seeing here. But it's interesting that I had no idea about this game, and everyone was saying kill him, kill him, kill him. And then we actually have this gameplay footage here from 2017, so it could be cool. But yeah, it is 2017, as you got, like, as you say in the chat, like, there's nothing to can't really base it off of anything. Well, it's going to be different than what right now. So that was the other rumor. And it is like a pottery game. Like, he's building pots.
Again, all of a sudden.
Building pots. What else happened? Does he fight anybody? I don't think there's anybody else in this match. Because, again, it's a The game is a port Starfield for PS5 with a 60 F. Yeah, okay, Time Bear. Sourbo, what's up, man? My source told me that they will shadow drop Abandoned 2. Trust me. Ooh, that's maybe that's true. Maybe Abandoned will come back from the dead as an Xbox game. The scam that ends up being actually an Xbox game. What else are we talking about here? There's a lot. Banjo-Kazooie, that's another one. Another rumor that we are seeing. So we have this here. Was another big one. Nate did say we should be expecting Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox, maybe after the exclusivity ends. How long was the exclusivity on that one? I forget. That one was what? A year? Or was it less than that? I forget how long. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Final Fantasy 14, we did get an update on when the open beta is going to be. It's February. I mean, that could change. So that's coming over to Xbox. We know that. We know that Phil Spencer and Square Enix have a relationship now that bring more games over to the service. And that's a huge step. I played Final Fantasy 14 a ton during the beginning of the pandemic, when just wanted to get into an MMO, and I grinded all the way from level 1 to level 80. So that'll be cool bringing that over to Xbox. And hopefully they have achievements and everything with that. I'll probably jump in and just quickly go try to get some of those achievements for a game that I did enjoy. But Final Fantasy 16, again, I really, really hope that Final Fantasy 7 Remake probably not coming over. The only time I would see that coming over is like after all three have been released, and then they release like a singular compilation of the three, and then maybe they will announce Xbox and Phil Spencer will work something out for that. But I doubt Final Fantasy 17 coming over, or Final Fantasy 7 is coming over until the end of the trilogy, because we know they're making three. And Final Fantasy 7 Remake is a great game. It is awesome. I love the first one. I'm gonna play. It'll give me something to play on my PS5. It's funny, we did those. I did like those years in reviews in my PS5 last year. I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet, but I am gonna play it. I had, I think, 48 hours PS5 last year. Like, I literally did not touch it. There's nothing for me to play there, because I only have it for first party. I did get Spider-Man 2, got it on a sale. They're over Boxing Week, Canada. I mean, you guys don't have that in the States, but you have like a week of sales after Christmas. And I picked it up there. So I'll eventually play that. Think about it, maybe check out Helldivers too, but and Final Fantasy. There is more stuff, but we still like that's the craziest thing. It's funny how this always happens. It's like we go into 2024 after a great year from Xbox in terms of first party releases. 2024 is looking and sounding like it's going to be a great year in terms of the games they're releasing. They have all the momentum in the world to start off this year. PlayStation literally has zero momentum. They don't have a roadmap at all from their first party games. And um now, but like the only thing people are talking about right now, it's January 7th, 7 days into the new year. The only thing people are focusing on right now is Hi-Fi Rush and Xbox putting their game on to the Nintendo Switch. So it's just like they have all the momentum, and then they it seems like they knock themselves in the face with these rumors that they should either shut down. If they don't come out this week and say anything, you can pretty much, I would say, bet that it's probably, or they're probably thinking like everyone's talking about Xbox, good or bad. We'll take that PR. So we're not going to clarify anything. It's just everyone is talking about it, and Phil Spencer needs to clarify this. Like if they're gonna do it, just clarify it. There's no point in waiting. Because you know what? Maybe they're waiting for, which is even stupider. Why they wouldn't say anything now? I don't think they're going to announce it at the developer direct. I could be wrong. Maybe they will. I doubt. Like it doesn't make sense to. But maybe this thing is going to get announced at a Nintendo direct. Like that's how much. That's how beneficial this is going to be for Nintendo. Maybe the next Nintendo Direct, they're going to announce Hi-Fi Rush is coming over. But again, at the same time, if they plaster an Xbox logo all over that announcement, a lot of Nintendo fans are going to see Xbox, which is great marketing. So maybe that's why they're not saying it. And part of this deal, it's probably like Nintendo gets to announce it um, on their own direct, which would just show how much power Nintendo actually does have, right? Xbox has millions of subscribers on their subscription service. They have the reach that like they will have the most amount of reach in terms of where they put their games, Steam, PC in general, Windows Store, obviously, cloud gaming on literally every device. They have all of these like marketing um, wins with PC handhelds, like Asus ROG Ally is essentially Xbox Game Pass device, and every PC handle that comes out, I'm sure you're going to see Xbox Game Pass marketing. Then they have the Xbox consoles, so their reach goes far beyond any other platform right now. Nintendo has the Nintendo Switch, which is an insane seller, over 100 million some sales. But they still, I guess, if they are able to, if they get to announce the Hi-Fi Rush is coming over to Nintendo at the direct, it just shows that like Nintendo has so much power in their role when it comes. But we don't know if it's true. Don't know if it's true. Jess seems to think that it's true based off of his editorial where he says his trusted sources are saying, I don't know if he thinks it's true, but he's basically saying his trusted sources are saying it's true. The question would be what's next, right? What's next? Hey George, thanks man, appreciate that. I'm back live. I'm going to try to come live on that. Okay, that sounded really. I'm going to try to go live 9 p.m. Sunday nights after the week of news has ended, and talk about the stuff that happened throughout the week. This week, the first week I go live, it's like the whole weekend has been dominated by this Nintendo Switch, Xbox port rumor, and everybody talking about what is happening, what is Xbox going to do going forward, what other games are going to be coming. I do agree with some of the points that I did see, that if it's not a core Xbox game, then it's like not nearly as big of a deal as people are making it. I mean, you look at like, you just gotta think about this, and people will always use the excuse that this was forced over by the MLB. Maybe it was forced by the MLB, but The reality is MLB The Show, which is a literal first party game from PlayStation that they have been developing in house for how many years since like Sony San Diego? I don't know like how long they've been around and they've been developing it. That game literally is on every single platform. So if you're going to make the argument that Xbox is third party, well PlayStation is just as third party because they have a game on every single platform with MLB The Show. And yes, and then you can just look at Destiny 2. I guess they're third party as well, right? So it's like these arguments are so stupid when it comes to third party. The reality is the gaming industry is changing, I think, for the better. I do think for the better because, as I've said, console exclusivity is only beneficial to the business, to the company. You and I aren't making money off of console exclusivity, right? Microsoft, Xbox were making money off of console exclusivity. They were making money off of it. PlayStation was making money, and they still are. But the industry is changing because of how much they're spending. It's like it's $300 million to make games. And then people say, well, why doesn't Nintendo put their games on platforms? Do you know how much it probably costs to make a Nintendo game? Do you know how much it probably costs to make Super Mario Wonder? Probably significantly less than it costs to make Spider-Man 2 or significantly less than it costs to make Starfield. Right? I don't know the number. I'm just assuming. I could be absolutely wrong on this, and I'm definitely ready to take the L if I'm wrong, but I'm kind of doubtful that I am wrong. It probably cost significantly less to make Super Mario, and they sold it millions of them, right? So that's why on the Nintendo Switch, it is still sustainable to have that console. It is still very sustainable because cost is far less. But if you're asking PlayStation, I mean, they even admitted it themselves in the Insomniac leaked documents that they need to expand out their reach and have a broader reach of customers because it's costing so much to develop these games. I mean, it's right there in writing in front of us all, and people still deny it, which is crazy to me. But um, yeah. So that's why the industry is changing. That's why console exclusivity is going away because it's not because these companies don't care about exclusivity. It's not because these companies don't care about core Xbox fans. It's because they know that they need to make more money because they have to answer to their shareholders. They have to have financial results that are increasing every single quarter. If they're not, the execs don't get their bonuses and all this type of stuff, right? So that's why they're looking at any way to make more money. And right now, with how much it costs to make these games, how they make more money is putting their games out to more people. But again, the messaging Xbox needs to change that. But I've been talking about the messaging and the marketing for like it's always been the crutch. It's always been the downfall of Xbox, in my opinion. Just their messaging. It all started like you think about like the Xbox One with the DRM when Don Matrick comes out and just completely blows the Xbox One launch because of the messaging out there and just open the door for PlayStation to come in and destroy them, which they absolutely did with that troll video about the sharing of games, which I actually thought was hilarious. And I actually love when these companies dunk on each other. I think that's great. I wish that we'd see more of that from Xbox. I mean, they did it recently with the Yakuza games. They did it recently with the Yakuza games with making fun of like PlayStation's tweet about you can get all of them for 25 pounds or you can and then place it and then Xbox puts out a tweet saying you can get them all on Xbox Game Pass. So I love that stuff. Like that's great. That's competition. We got it. I would love to see more of that from Xbox rather than just the every time PlayStation releases a game, the kumbaya of like, oh, congratulations on releasing your game. We're so excited for you. Like nobody cares. Nobody wants to see. Let's be real. Nobody wants to see Phil Spencer congratulating PlayStation. Like, let's be real. Um, but like the the exclusivity stuff is only it's a change. The game is changing, and PlayStation knows the game is changing. We have a clear view with them putting more games on PC. We've seen it in the um, documents. Like they even admitted it that they need to get a broader reach, need to reach more people, all that type of stuff. But you know, H, you believe the PS deal was superior? I didn't look into what deal was actually superior, but it's an easy dunk when all the games are in a subscription service. So probably why I did. PS consumer mindset is destroying PlayStation brand, like they want Sony to make single player games. Those games are not sustainable. Well, the problem is they don't even play the games. That's the problem. Not enough of them play the games. They want to make these $300 million games, but not enough of them play them on the PlayStation platform, which is why PlayStation has to bring them over to PC. Main problem is person can say, yeah, someone said Xbox games are going to Nintendo with no bases and it becomes treated as facts. That's true. I mean, I've already seen, like, you go on social media, people are officially claiming that this game is there, that other games are going to be coming there. But we got to define what third, like, the definitions of third party now are completely different. Like, you can argue Xbox is third party because their games are on other platforms, which they've already been there for a while with all the Bethesda stuff and all the legacy stuff. But then you can't say Xbox is third party without saying PlayStation is third party as well. That's the issue when it comes to that argument. It's just their logic is broken instantly. If you say Xbox is third party, then PlayStation is third party as well. That's just a fact. If that's the basis that you're going to use to make that argument, because PlayStation has first party games on Xbox, they have first party games on PC, they have first party games they just have first party games on other platforms, right? So, what is the definitions of the future of gaming is basically uh you're gonna be it's the ecosystem, what it is, which is what happened with TV, which is what happened with movies and stuff, right? Ecosystem. What subscription service do you want to be a part of? And then will there be consoles? I think there will be at least one more generation of consoles, but after that, will there be consoles anymore? I think that's going to be a huge turning point for the industry. I think what these companies are thinking is that they want to get as many people so invested in the ecosystem for the next 10 plus years or so that when they do decide to cut off making consoles and that main access point for a lot of people, they will just be they will really have almost no choice but to stay within the ecosystem on a different device because their friends, their achievements, their game catalog, and all that type of stuff. I mean, Phil Spencer referenced this when he was talking about losing the Xbox One generation. The first real digital generation was the hardest generation to lose, which makes complete sense. Like, how hard is it if you have thousands of dollars in digital games to abandon that ecosystem? Very hard. It was a very hard generation to lose, and that's why they're trying many different things right now. And I honestly think what they're doing is very good. I mean, you guys know if you watch my videos, I think what they're doing is very good. You think Phil Spencer was only wanting Activision Call of Duty on Nintendo? He wanted whatever Microsoft title he can have Nintendo accept deals with and the demographics of players. I don't know. I feel like it's like it's hard because there are going to be certain games that probably do go over. Is probably the more niche games. Just to try to get more sales for those games if they weren't very profitable. Microsoft bought a third-party studio who had a bunch of games across all platforms. Like, I don't get that argument moving forward. I think future stuff is 99% going to be. Yeah, the argument it doesn't make sense. I mean, these games are already there. Uh, but the argument only goes in one way right now. And again, it's like we have a game like MLB The Show that literally drops day and date into a opposing subscription service. PlayStation has PlayStation Plus, and MLB The Show it did not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but again, last year did not drop day and date into PlayStation Plus. So So I mean, right there is PlayStation third party? Right? Are they third party? They're putting their games on PC and Steam. Or they do not need a PlayStation console anymore because obviously they do it in a different way. It's not day and date, but I've said on this channel multiple times, and I may end up being completely wrong about it, but I think PlayStation is going to eventually drop their games day and date onto PC. Same day they drop them onto PlayStation. Just to try to boost sales right off the bat for their financials for that game in that quarter. It's just it makes complete sense. You love Xbox, then you want Xbox exclusive to be on the Nintendo Switch because it will bring more revenue for Xbox Studios, which means it will fund exclusives. And for me personally, I mean, I would agree with that. I don't really, I mean, the revenue part, I mean, I'm not making any money off of Xbox making more revenue, stocks or anything, but it's like, that's the one thing. It's like if Xbox selling their game more, if even if that means on the Nintendo Switch, then and that means more Xbox games get developed, more games come to Game Pass. I mean, I'm all for that. I'm absolutely all for PlayStation out of making games. This is Jen using point logic. PlayStation has zero roadmap 2024 for their first party games. It's actually mind boggling. And I mentioned this earlier in the stream. It's crazy. We're sitting here, we're January 7th, right? We're January 7th. We're 7 days into 2024. We know Xbox has a phenomenal year lined up. We know that they do. Unless everything goes to shit and all of these games that were announced for 2024 get delayed, nothing comes out, which will be very hard with the amount of games that they do have announced for 2024. We know that they have another phenomenal year coming up, and we don't even know everything Xbox is going to bring to the table when it comes to Xbox Game Pass. And we should be talking about that. Instead, we're talking about Hi-Fi Rush going to Nintendo Switch, and nobody again is talking about that PlayStation has no first party studio games lined up. They put out a trailer. They put out a where is it? I'll pull it up here. They put out a teaser the other day, right? Put out a teaser for PlayStation for 2024, and everyone was getting excited because they announced like multi-plot, like Metal Gear and stuff that's still in the works, and Silent Hill. It's like those are all coming. I believe Silent Hill is too, but they're coming to. Those are multi-platform games. None of those are first-party games, and nobody talked about. So, is it confirmed that PlayStation has zero first-party games in 2024? Is there not a thing coming out from their first-party studios? I mean, that's kind of like if you're a PlayStation fan, like how that's kind of concerning, right? We all talked about how concerned we were in 2022 when Xbox had no first party. I mean, I was on here. I said I was like, I said that it was bad that they messed up. Now, I still had tons to play on Xbox. I wasn't lacking of games because they didn't release a first party game. And on PlayStation, if you're deep into their ecosystem, you're still going to have lots of games to play. But no one is talking about how they don't have a first party game, and it's almost going on 2 years. Right? Let's be honest here. Spider-Man 2 is they released one game. It's going on 2 years where they will have released one major first party new game. I mean, people are gonna, I guess, consider The Last of Us 2 remastered. Does that count? I don't know. But like they don't they're not like these are all third party games that they're showing here. This is not an exciting sizzle trailer for PlayStation at all. It's if you're a PlayStation fan, it just isn't. Like I look at PlayStation when they put out a PlayStation video, I want to see what they are developing from their first parties. I couldn't care less what the third parties are developing. I'll go to they just showed Dragon's Dogma 2. I'll go to the Capcom YouTube channel. I'll go to Capcom and see what they're releasing. I love Capcom, so I love to see what they're creating, right? So I don't know. No one's talking about it. Everyone's just talking about Hi-Fi Rush. Hey, Mr. J, appreciate that. Appreciate that. 7 months since I've been live. And I'm gonna try to go live Sunday nights at 9 p.m. for about an hour or two. Talk about the week in gaming. And they're canceling games. Yeah, that's true too. I still think that they aren't trying hard enough, especially here in Africa. There's a huge base for them here, but they aren't capitalizing, especially with the Series S. Yeah, I mean that's fair, but Xbox definitely needs isn't. They definitely lack in certain parts of the world. I mean, we even saw what happened with the whole Brazil stuff when they raised the prices there. It all like realistically it just comes down to they look at it strictly from a financial and business perspective and how much money that they think they'll be able to make, which is like you think like, you know what, they're a $1 trillion company. Maybe they put a little bit more goodwill into other parts of the world, but they're all about the bottom line, right? Spider-Man 2 coming to PC sooner? I'm not sure. I am not sure. I think there was something in the Insomniac documents actually. I think there was something in the Insomniac document. It was something about fiscal year 24, I believe it's coming to PC. Don't quote me on that if I remember correctly. That they said that that was it. Which could mean still coming in. It could be 2025 because fiscal year 24, I believe, goes to March 2025. So I think I recall now. Actually, yeah, I think it's a fiscal year 24 for Spider-Man 2 for PC, and so it could be anywhere between March 4 to March 25. Believe don't again quote me on that. I'm not even sure if I got their fiscal year. Nothing really that excited you on the PlayStation trailer? I mean, I look at the PlayStation trailer and I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend like I don't want to play any of these games, but I can play a lot of them on my Xbox, right? Like I can play a lot of my Xbox. The games that I'm excited for that I can only play on PlayStation that aren't even first party is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Helldivers 2. Um yeah, that's pretty much it. Stellar Blade, like we'll see. I'll see how that game turns out. I'm not crazy. Rise of the Ronin looks cool, but again, like yeah, I'm not even that like I'll be honest, I'm not that excited for Rise of the Not. I don't even I like I loved Elden Ring. Um, but I don't know if I have time or patience to play another similar game like that right now. So I'm not even that excited for it. But that's it. So there's two for me, which is interestingly enough more than I was excited for on PlayStation last year because all I was excited for on PlayStation last year was Spider-Man 2. But everything else here, it's like it's third party essentially that I'm excited for. Oh, I'm really excited for Foam Stars. I can't wait. That's day one for me. Day and date. Can't wait. Hope I hope you guys can tell I'm being sarcastic. Um, cloud gaming still needs a ton of improvements for sure. That's for sure. That's the thing too when it comes to the conversation about will there be consoles next generations. I think absolutely there will be because cloud gaming is still not even close to being mainstream. There's so many people that just don't have good enough internet, and even myself, I have good internet, and then the experience is like still hit and miss. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the server. Maybe it's because I live in Canada and it has American. I don't know, but it's just it's still hit and miss. I still I don't think I'll ever prefer cloud gaming over downloading games natively, and maybe it's just because I'm more old school, start gaming on like the Super Nintendo, so maybe that's why. I'll never get her old. I still have a lot. I still buy physical games a lot of the time. Just I like having a physical game, even though there's nothing even in the case anymore. There's a unlock key on a lot of these discs with nothing on it. Um, but there are still actually a lot of games that have a good amount of content on the disc. That's one myth I discovered. It's not every game that just has an unlock. There's a website. There's a guy who tracks it. I forget it. I forget what it's called, but I go out to it all the time. I don't know how I forgot the name. So annoying. It literally tells you every single game that you can get that actually has the game on the. So you 1 gigabyte. Yeah, I have. Yeah, so do I. That's what I have as well, and it's still hit and miss. You'd think with 1 gigabit internet, there would be zero problems with cloud. So anyone try cloud gaming this past December had to wait 10 to 30 minutes to play even with internet. I had to wait for Starfield. I tried it. I tried Starfield on the cloud and I had to wait. Um, that's one site I check out for. There's a site. I don't know how I'm drawing a blank right now. There's a guy on Twitter and he has a site and he literally lists every game that you can buy physically that has the full game on the disc itself and whether you need an internet connection to play that game. I think it's Does It Play or something. Oh yeah, does it play .org. Um, we're just kind of getting off topic here, but you can search all physical games. You can just go to like the game list and you can see like any platform. So there are still games that have like if you go Xbox, although the site doesn't work like legs like, but there are still games that you can see offline play, download required. Surprisingly, I mean these are PS4, Switch, PS4, but there are Xbox, there are PS5 and stuff. Yeah, the site's kind of shitty. Anyways, so um, Hi-Fi Rush. I know that was obviously the biggest news. There's some other stuff here. I have like a list of stuff. There's a new Xbox controller apparently that is. We had talked about this earlier in the week that there was a patent for, and I think a lot of people are kind of getting confused about what this is. To me, all this looks like is like the the um the Razer Kishi style of thing where it's just going to be like two controllers. They look like there's nothing in the back. It's just like two things you can latch onto any device. Which again, this is a topic of cloud gaming. It looks like just two separate Joy-Cons Xbox may be developing to be able to put onto any device so you can play on any platform. Just bring them with you wherever you go. Which this is pretty cool. I actually do think this is a good idea because obviously cloud gaming that they are trying to push, you can play on anywhere. And if you just have two things you can slot and they're universal for any phone, any tablet or anything, would be pretty cool. But this is the patent that they currently are making. Doesn't look like anything special. Probably has some haptics in it and some the impulse triggers as well or something. It just feels like a regular Xbox controller. So that was one interesting. But again, it's their push for cloud game that they are going hard on. Which internet, as we just said, it isn't there yet. It isn't mainstream enough for everybody to be able to access it. We still need consoles. We still need to have games natively downloaded. And then there was also oh, this was an interesting one. Okay, let's talk about this. I don't even think I talked about this at all in my videos this week. This is an interesting one. I did not cover. I don't know. I just missed it. I think that will happen. I mean, I am a one man show here. PlayStation 5 Slim is selling well, but not well enough. 100 million units won't be enough to recover development costs next generation. And this is what we were talking about earlier. With the industry is completely changing. It is costing so much to develop, right? These games, as we've seen from the Insomniac leaks, like $300 million. I like if you watch my videos for the last year, I was saying, oh, it's costing over 200 million. We've seen numbers of like 250 million or something, right? 350 million, $310 million that Insomniac is costing them to develop games. They are in projecting to develop games. which is why console exclusivity is dying and is going to be dead on PlayStation. It just is. They are going to be putting their games everywhere. They've already started with PC. They're opening up a mobile division. They're trying to improve their cloud, all that stuff. It is going away, whether people like it or not. It just is. But this here says here the PlayStation 5 Slim seems to be selling well compared to the original model, but it seems like it is still not enough to outperform the PlayStation 4, according to a new report. As reported by the games industry Japan securities firm Toyo Securities, held a seminar on December 27th to discuss the PlayStation 5 sales. According to the firm, Sony will sell around 18.5 million units in 2024, missing its target of 25 million units. Now, some people are saying this is misinformation, that they will be hitting the 25 million because it's their fiscal year, that it's not just the year, just the like calendar year, which I haven't double checked whether that is true or not, but that's what some people are saying. It says, while it was previously assumed the console was not selling enough due to manufacturing issues, the reality seems to be different, as while the PlayStation 5 Slim is selling well, its sales are not enough to outperform the PS4 sales in a similar time frame. Still, it is doing well, and it's likely SIE interim president Hiroki Totoki will highlight them in the company's next financial results. And then they go on here to say that while it's not hitting the sales targets, even with the success of the PlayStation 5, it is not a major issue. It may be a much bigger issue in the next console generation, which isn't all that far off now. That's crazy to think about. We're already 20. These consoles are 4 years old. Well, we'll be 4 years old at the end of the year. We're halfway through this generation, maybe even more than halfway, depending on when next gen comes out, because we do know the rumors that Xbox may want to release a new console in 2026. That's what's going around. I'm not sure if that is legitimate or if that is actually a rumor that does make sense. But I don't know if I'm the only one here. Although I love the Series X, I think it is by far the best Xbox console. Like, just with everything in it, you get every single generation in it as well. I mean, the 360 was my favorite, but the Series X is easily the best console ever made by Xbox, with all the tech in it and how fast games load. It's just great. It's a great experience. But it still seems like we are still waiting on like wow, that wow game. That game that's like, okay, now we're in the next generation. Now we're in the next generation of consoles from the Xbox One. And maybe it's going to be Hellblade. I'm hoping, my fingers crossed it's going to be Hellblade. Maybe it's going to be Gears with Unreal Engine 5. It could be that. It's not too abnormal that we get to that point late into the generation, at the end of the generation. I mean, you look back at like the PS3, and they have The Last of Us come out at the very end of the generation. That was pretty insane graphically what they were able to do there. So it's not surprising, but it just, if they release a new console in 2026, what is going to be that wow game between now and then? Hellblade 2, right? Gears, I think Gears 6 is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be one of the greatest looking games we probably have ever seen, just based off of what Coalition is being able to do with like, you look at Hive Busters. Like, if you load up Hive Busters today, it's still one of the best looking games. You'll think it's so good, like what they were able to do graphically with that. So and gameplay wise, I mean, that's the thing for me. It will be, puts it over the top. So we'll see. 2026, I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe that. But if PlayStation does release a PS5 Pro, will Xbox care to respond at all? Although I do think it would potentially be a good idea for Xbox to start the next generation early, like a year in advance, like they did with the Xbox 360 over the PlayStation 6, to get just a head start on sales. If it makes sense now, because they've built up so much goodwill, and they've I think captured a lot more fans overall, a lot more users with Game Pass and everything, that they will have a better chance of selling more in the next generation. Avatar lags a lot on the X, but all my other games run fine. Avatar, I haven't experienced too much lag, but Avatar is one of the best looking games I've seen this Sure. If maybe the best looking. It is phenomenal. Okay, so they're talking about the next generation, which isn't far off. Um, I'm thinking 27, 28, realistically, 4 more years. And they say that third parties revealed how difficult it is to recover the current huge development costs. Um, where are we? Current huge development costs with an install base of 100 million units, as even porting titles to Xbox consoles and PC doesn't help all that much. In the report, Toyo Securities highlights this issue as well, saying that this will become even more of a problem in the next generation of consoles, suggesting that Sony should stop seeking increased performance, which leads to increased development costs, and release a smaller system with bigger mass market appeal. Now, I disagree with this from the market perspective. Like, Sony has always marketed themselves as like the wow, like you're getting the top end. You're getting a luxury product. You're getting a luxury console with you're getting the best possible gaming experience you can get. If they go out there and they release like a Nintendo Switch powered device console, there's no like people are going to be confused completely. They've built up so many years of marketing. Like, you look at all their marketing campaigns, even like the PS3 marketing campaign was insane because they were charging so much for that console. If they go out next generation, they release something that is underpowered just for mass broad appeal, everyone's going to be super confused. It would just be such a deviation from what PlayStation does. El Emonopio. Hopefully I said that right. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate that. It says here, what's wrong with making shorter, great looking games and having story expansions via DLC that would extend a game's life and sales? I have no issues with shorter, great looking games. Like, if you like, Hive Busters was too short. I think it was only like a 2 hour experience or something. But if you're putting something out in like the 10-hour range and it looks phenomenal, I'm absolutely okay with that. If especially if they add DLC after. The only thing I have when I think about 10-hour games is they're very, very like a lot of them are very actually no, that's not true. Because there's a lot of I was gonna say a lot of them are very just like narrative, story driven, cinematic. I'm thinking about like a PlayStation game, right? But there's tons of like platformers, first person shooters, tons of games like that that are 10 hours that look great. So yeah, I'm absolutely okay with that. If they put out 10 hours, then they add DLC after that. The question though would be how much do they charge for that? Because you have to think about the value that that you're getting out of it. Because you can get 100-hour games for the same price as a 10-hour game, and some people equate that the price to how much value, how much time they're putting into a game. So maybe if they charge slightly less, that would be a way to go. But I like all like right now I'm playing some very short games, and then I have a longer game like Avatar on the side that I'm playing as well. All right. Okay, so they're suggesting that Sony stops seeking increased performance. They're basically saying that Sony should become like the Nintendo Switch. As the massive Insomniac Games leak last month revealed, development costs are going out of control for AAA games and are hardly sustainable. With SIE's leadership change, it will be interesting to see what the company will do to change the situation and how hard it will impact the gaming industry as a whole. We know we saw up to like $300 million to create those games. So this securities, this analyst is suggesting that the PS5 just no matter how much they sell, they won't sell enough because of how expensive it is to develop games. And I mean, I've been saying this for years now, um, and clearly that's the industry is changing. And if you remember from the Xbox documents leak with the FTC, Phil Spencer wrote an entire email discussing this, discussing how publishers and developers are in a tough spot right now with how much it costs to develop their games. I think he said something else that after it's which is something I think he talked about Game Pass, but I'm not sure. But he just mentioned how they are in a tough spot. Not paying $70 for a 10-hour game. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like how much money do you attribute to the length of the game? How much value do you attribute to that, right? Like the thing is, there are many proven cases where developers can make a 10-hour game and sell like crazy. So that was an interesting article people were also talking about. Um and PS4, PS5 Pro announcement is also in the rumors. It's going to be coming near the end of the year. The Switch 2, the Switch 2, again, we're getting more rumors about that is going to be an iteration rather than a revolution. The same analyst is predicting, which will be super interesting to see how the Switch 2 comes in and disrupts these current generation. I mean, the current Switch is still selling well, and it has sold this thing well. I wonder if the Switch 2 will do, or this will be another one of those generations that after Nintendo does such an incredible job with the Switch, are they going to fall flat on their face? With like what they do with the Wii and then the Wii U, is it going to be like a similar thing? That I don't think so. I think they've kind of figured it out at this point. I think the Switch 2 will be more powerful, of course. It'll be definitely less powerful than the X and the PS5. Probably less powerful than the Series S, and it'll sell like gangbusters. They don't care about the power narrative. Zelda Ocarina of Time remake for the Switch, that would be insane if they did that. I'm all for it. That is why Xbox is going third party now. Well, that's why PlayStation is going third party then too, right? Like you can't say Xbox is going third party without saying PlayStation is going third party or is third party. You have to define what third party is at this point. In gaming, what is it? What is the definition of third party? I don't know anymore. PlayStation's third party too, right? That's why like the dunking and the that people do on Xbox, or the arguments and the back and forth is so stupid because they both have games on each other's platforms. Maybe one has more than the other because they have way more studios and they made a huge acquisitions where these games are already on the platform. So again, it's a stupid argument to make. But if you were to ask me about MLB The Show, MLB The Show to me is a staple first party PlayStation game, a staple game. They've been making that thing for years. Sony San Diego. You always could only get it on PlayStation. It was for some people a console seller, right? Hi-Fi Rush isn't a staple first party Xbox game. It was a game that was in development before they purchased Bethesda, and they probably already have a Nintendo Switch build in the works. Who has a more prominent first party game on another platform? I would say right now, like MLB The Show is huge. Now, if Halo or Gears or Forza, or even if Starfield at this point goes over, that would be massive. That would be massive. But they more than likely are not going to, because Halo is Xbox. I don't think you'll ever see Halo on or PlayStation. If it does, then that would be. Companies are about building revenue. I mean, that's absolutely what they're about. Absolutely what they're about. I just hope that just hope we get some sort of clarification about Hi-Fi Rush, just so we can, oh, just so we can stop speculating, because that's the biggest issue with Xbox isn't is Hi-Fi Rush going on a Switch. That's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is, or the biggest issue of Xbox isn't, are there games on the Nintendo Switch? That's not the biggest issue. Biggest issue is their messaging, like the whole Blade thing. Like I understand if you follow the gaming industry, and if you follow Xbox, to look at somebody now and who's asks, is Blade coming to PlayStation? Look at them and think, you're an idiot for asking that question. We've heard what Xbox is doing with their new first party games. They're coming wherever Xbox Game Pass is. It's going to be in the Xbox ecosystem. It's going to be exclusive to Xbox. I totally understand that. But the reality is, the Blade announcement was terrible messaging. They did it at the Game Awards, which is more of a mainstream show. You have people who probably aren't as invested in gaming as me, as you, as people who play games every day, who talk games every day, watching the show, seeing Blade announced, and just thinking it's another game coming out, and probably looking if they can get that game on the platform that they play on, because there is no signal of an Xbox logo, there is no Game Pass, all that type of stuff. So I totally get why there would be confusion there. And now you look at the Hi-Fi Rush and everyone talking about this, and everyone now is even more confused about which games are going to other platforms. Xbox needs to literally be point blank at this point, because I thought they were point blank. Really, I really did. I really thought that when Phil Spencer came out and said Xbox games are going to be wherever Xbox or first party games are going to be, the new games are going to be wherever Game Pass is, that we would never have to ask the question about, is this new IP going onto another platform? But now we do, if Hi-Fi Rush goes onto the Switch. So messaging needs to be fixed. Absolutely. The biggest issue is the fan base. We are the main ones who agree soon as anyone says anything. Since when does PlayStation or Nintendo have studio game platform? Question. I mean, everyone, and the rumors too, right? Like the rumors get spread around like wildfire, and I report on the rumors too. Um, of course, like I always say, take them with a grain of salt, but yeah, we have no official confirmation. Since when does PlayStation or Nintendo have studio game platform? Well, the thing is, they don't. They never do. Um, but like Mario's never coming over to any other platform, or like a Super Mario game, because Mario has been in other games, right? Like you have Mario and Rabbids, right? The Ubisoft game. So he has been on other platforms. The character. Um, I think PlayStation at this point, going forward, their games will be everywhere. Maybe not on Xbox or Switch, but like they're going to be putting their games on a PC day and date at some point in the future, and Destiny's on every platform. So you can use these arguments that are stupid, because these games these were acquisitions of games that were already on other platforms. So it's kind of stupid to even look at those. Hi-Fi Rush was successful, does it mean all successful ISP will be on other platforms? Meanwhile, we can keep trash like Redfall. I mean, that's the question, right? What does this mean? If Hi-Fi Rush does go, what does it mean for other games? That's the messaging issue. My theory on Hi-Fi Rush, I said this at the beginning, is this was a game in development before it was acquired. They have a Nintendo Switch build. So Tango's probably looking at their financials, and sure, I'm guessing it was profitable to an extent, but they're looking at it and they're like, "Yo, look, we have Phil, look here, we have this Nintendo Switch build, right? It's ready to go. You just got to do a couple tweaks here and there, reduce the resolution, make sure it runs properly. It won't cost very much to get this thing running on the Nintendo Switch. If you put it on the Switch, we project we're gonna be able to sell X amount of copies, and we're gonna be able to make X amount of money, because just based off of how much it costs to develop the Switch version and all that type of stuff." And Phil's probably looking at it and he's like, "Well, this increases revenues, this makes us money, and helps me get closer to my goals of how much I need to make as the CEO, and get my bonus and stuff, and let's just release it on the Switch and sell these copies. It makes no sense not to." So that's kind of my theory as to probably what happened with Hi-Fi Rush. If it is true, of course. We don't know if it's true. Keep saying that because we have no idea if this is true or not. These rumors always pop up at random times. And it's so weird. And like I've said so many times on the stream, it's like the Xbox is going into a year where they have a great outlook. And we're talking about this, and PlayStation has literally no first party games, and no one's talking about it. Like, is anyone going to talk about Xbox PlayStation having no first party games? Is anyone going to be concerned about it? I think I saw a clip of Colin Moriarty who was actually talking about it and actually concerned about it. But there's definitely something going on at PlayStation. There's without a doubt, with the firings, the leavings, the studios closing, no first party games, the cost. They're going through a huge transition behind the scenes. You can bet on that. PlayStation is going through a massive transition. It'll be interesting to see where they come out on the other side. What this means. Won't be mad if Hi-Fi Rush goes to Switch, but this can't be a normal thing for Xbox. They got to keep exclusives exclusive. Yeah, I mean, they just need to let fans know what's exclusive and what's not, essentially, and um be more clear about it. Because my understanding, again, Half Rush is not on the Switch yet. So it's still my understanding was that new IPs will be on at wherever Game Pass is. And Half Rush was a new IP. Although they obviously had a Switch built before the game was purchased, right? Reggie with the $2 super chat. Appreciate that. Third party exclusives are the same in my book. Do you mean like the same as first party exclusives? I mean, PlayStation has like a bunch of third party exclusives for sure. But the question here is like, what is going on at their first party studios to have nothing ready for 2024 and only one game ready for 2023 and then cancel game, right? That's the question. No one talks about PlayStation. Pauline Mori. Where's I don't know where the coalition is. I think we're gonna see something from the coalition this year, whether it's a Marcus Phoenix collection or I think we'll probably honestly I think we're gonna see the Marcus Phoenix collection. Not maybe not well, maybe released. Who knows? But then we'll see some teaser for Gear 6 at the Xbox showcase. We have to at this point. Like when was Gears what was Gears 5? 2019? So we're going on 5 years now. We got to see something for Gear 6. I'm tired of waiting. I want to see Gear 6. One of my favorite franchises of all time. I need to see that game now. Where is Factions? Factions is dead. Factions is dead. I was so surprised when they canceled Factions. I'll be completely honest because way I was thinking was you have an extremely strong IP in The Last of Us. So people will play this multiplayer game just because it's The Last of Us. They may not even be interested in multiplayer. They may not even like the game that much, but they will play it because it's such a strong IP. And it's games as a service, which is absolutely, and multiplayer, which is absolutely PlayStation needs as another revenue stream. So I was like, there's no way they're going to cancel this. They ended up canceling. Xbox is the most talked about. That was true in 2023. It was the most talked about platform, but I think it was the most talked about platform because they had games coming out, right? They had games all year coming out. And there's also a lot of negativity around the platform that gets talked about, which it's, I don't know. Like, when is the next PlayStation showcase? And when are we going to see people talking about again? There's no first party developed games coming out this year. But the showcase for the developer direct is rumored for January 14th, the week of January 14th. What do you guys want to see from that showcase? I know from me, I just want to see deeper dives of games that are coming out this year. Like I'm sure we'll see more Hellblade. I want to see some Towerborn. That will be very cool. I'm sure we'll see something for Flight Simulator. It'd be super cool if we get a surprise of like Clockwork Revolution coming out this year, or even just give us like a deeper look into that game. Because that game, when they showed off at the Xbox showcase last year, it seemed like it was pretty ready. Like it seemed like they had a lot. That game is much closer to release than we think. So that would be cool as well. And I definitely want to see some Activision, something from Activision. Maybe even if it's just a video of them at the studios, and they maybe give us like an announcement for games coming to Game Pass. Because when are we getting that first Activision Blizzard drop of Game Pass games? Right, like when? It's got to be soon. The deal's closed. They just got to hit the switch and put old games on the service. Right. So when is that coming? Got to be soon. I think it'll be. I think it'll be soon. I think it'll be in the next. I think by March for sure. We'll have a bunch. But yeah, I want to see Perfect Dark info. I'm honestly, I don't know if we will. I don't think we're going to see Perfect Dark until the showcase in the summer. I don't think we'll see anything at the developer direct, but that would be super cool if we did, because nobody knows what's going on with Perfect Dark right now. Gear 6, I think we won't see until the showcase as well. Any of the major hitters, like Hellblade 2 is a major hitter, but we know this game was coming out, and let's be real, like I think Gears is far bigger than Hellblade. Perfect Dark's probably bigger than Hellblade. But Hellblade, we've already seen so much of it, and it's ready to come out soon. Stalker 2 may be there. Will it be there? It's third party, so probably don't know. It wouldn't be there. Because you remember these developer directs are just, I believe, they're in-house first party studios. Splinter, a new, oh man, I would love a new Splinter Cell. I would love one. Golem 2. Yeah, let's get some Golem 2 at this developer direct. um it's a shorter showcase. I like how they did it last year, and I hope they do it similarly where we get like a deep, like, behind the scenes look. Perfect Dark could be very good if done right. I have faith in Crystal Dynamics and the initiative. Honestly, I'm not too worried. I'm not worried about Perfect Dark. I think it will be. I loved what Crystal did with Tomb Raider remakes. So what else? What else happened this week? AI in gaming? That's a big topic. Square Enix is going to be going hard on it. EA is patenting some audio variations. We've seen all the talk about AI, especially when Xbox came out with their AI partnership, and people were like saying like they're going to boycott games. I'm going to boycott any games with AI. It's like I think AI could do some pretty crazy stuff to make games more immersive. Now, then, the obvious negative effect is how many jobs will be cut from this, and we don't know that. That's all speculation. How many jobs will be cut? But AI is going to be infiltrating a lot of industries, a lot of IT industries, a lot of um, places where there's just jobs that AI can do much faster. That you don't need humans doing it. And I'm not like saying let's just cut all these jobs, but there's just ways to implement it in a good way and an ethical way that makes things better. And in gaming, just think about like if you have like a huge open world city AI can make dialogue lines for all of the NPCs walking around the city that you could never do with just humans doing these development. It would take way too long and it would be way too much resources. That type of stuff I think would be super cool how that's implemented. And uh, the sound, like the sound variation that EA here is was patenting, where you just need to make one sound. Human makes like one sound, and then AI can take that sound and change it in the correct way to match what is going on within the game, which will make all of the sounds be different and all of the sounds be more immersive, because I'm sure they use the same sound effect multiple times in video games right now for many different things. You may not notice it, but I'm sure it happens, or just very slight like differences, or they have a catalog of sounds that they use throughout the entire game. If AI can like take that catalog and expand it out, it's just it'll make games better. It'll make games more immersive. So I'm actually all for seeing how AI goes into video games and how it makes them better. Now, of course, you have to worry about like it being abused and then making games less creative because they don't use it properly. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. That was another pretty interesting topic. Square Enix going hard in AI is funny because last year they said they were going hard in NFT, and they say they're still going to go hard onto NFT, but they're also going to go hard in AI. Very interesting, weird company Square Enix has become with the way that they run stuff. So the AI companion mod for Skyrim really showed off some capabilities for AI. It's nuts what that alone could do. Yeah, I have to look. I have to check that one out. Look into that more. The next Xbox is supposed to have AI baked in. Interesting. I wonder what the next Xbox is going to be. Thinking they're going to go with a full high powered box next gen, and then probably some sort of like cloud based device box. There was what has ever happened to that cloud based Xbox? I wonder if that thing's ever going to come out, or if they're just going to wait until the next generation to put something like just to get access to the cloud for people who don't have Samsung TVs. That's what Xbox needs to do to expand their cloud, is to get the Xbox Game Pass onto more smart TVs, not just the Samsung stuff. We're going to see AI on the next Nintendo console, super NVIDIA upscaling tech, a superior NVIDIA upscale. Yeah, that'd be cool. In Cyberpunk, you see the same NPCs everywhere. See, that's the thing, right? If AI can turn these worlds into more living worlds, that is going to be extremely immersive. I feel like when open world games started, you had open world cities. I know for me, going into these open worlds, I had this like grand idea of like you're really going into like a living city that you feel like is alive, right? And there's games that do it great, but the majority of them, you look at the NPCs, right? They're all very similar. There's not much variation. It's not crazily immersive. If AI can take care of that, we finally get to that point where like every NPC you see has different things to say, potentially they look different. That would be crazy. That would be crazy to me. And that alone, I can't wait to see if they're able to implement this in that way. Using AI and also using AI to smooth frames and resolutions and stuff and helping with like that stuff. Because I mean, we have whole channels dedicated to zooming in on every single pixel and seeing which ones are good and which ones are bad, and what section of the game the frame drops 3 frames eh, so that people could talk about, oh, this game dropped 3 frames here, it must be a bad game. Like if AI smooths all that out, they're going to put a lot of channels and a lot of businesses out of out of business because it'll all be smooth frame rates. If GTA 6 has AI chat for NPCs, it's over. Yeah, that'd be creative guns, some of the best music, cool enemies, unique art style. I just found it funny when Microsoft or Xbox, I guess Microsoft announced their partnership. Who was it with? It was with Yes, who when they announced it, there's so many people that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna abandon. I'm not gonna play any game as a in world, in world." That was it. We didn't see anybody. I didn't see anybody talking about abandoning Square Enix games because they were going hard on it. Maybe I missed it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying there was lots of outrage when Xbox announced the in-world partnership. I didn't see very much outrage when Square Enix talked about AI and how they're going to be going hard on that and investing more into that going forward. You think Activision is going to announce the new Tony Hawk and Spyro now that Xbox has given them the frame? I am hoping, I am hoping they absolutely do two of my favorite franchises that Activision has. I love both of those games. That would be crazy. That would be insane if they do announce some new Tony Hawk soon. I really, really hope because of the Xbox bias. We'll see how the Xbox bias plays out this year. We'll see how it plays out. This year will be very interesting. See how the Xbox tax plays out because, as I've said, PlayStation has zero first party games, and if the media doesn't talk about that more than they have, um, that will be interesting. I know this is probably the third time I've said this, but in case people are just jumping into the chat now, it's January 7th. It's January 7th. We're not talking about how good of an outlook Xbox has for 2024 and the games that they're releasing. We're not talking about how PlayStation has no first party games in development or announced for 2024. We're talking about a rumor of the Hi-Fi Rush coming over to the Nintendo. Crazy. But that's just what's hot in the news right now, and that's what I mean. I'm talking about it in my video tomorrow. Everyone's talking about it because it is an interesting like thing to think about because what does it mean if this does happen, right? Xbox is going to dominate first party, and Sony's going to be barren. The opposite of the PS4. I want PlayStation needs to work on some multiplayer. You're biased on PS games. You're pro Xbox. I am absolutely biased. Yeah, I will admit that. I mean, I've said that on my channel. I am an Xbox is my console of preference. I am absolutely biased. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not biased. Like I play my PlayStation equally to my Xbox. I played my PlayStation for 48 hours in 2023 because I had nothing to play on it until Spider-Man 2 came out, which I still haven't gotten to yet. So I don't even know what I played for 48 hours. My PS5 last year. I think I had some friends who wanted to play NHL. So I think I played on my PS5 last year. Um, but I have a PS5 and I absolutely want them to do good. I want them to release games. I want them to have an insane good first party output all the time. So I want to play my PS5 and I also want it to be great competition for the gaming industry. And yeah, I agree, Richie. The PS5 isn't barren. Like that's absurd to say. There are tons of games to play on the PS5. If PS5 is your main console, you have lots of games to play. I'm not saying that isn't the case. I'm just saying as the PS5 not being my main console, I only use it essentially for first party games. That's it. I have nothing to play in 2020 or from their first party studios. Now, will I play Final Fantasy 7? Sure, I'll play Final Fantasy 7. So there's that, but I don't even know if I'll play that right away. I probably will wait a decent amount of time to play that. But my PS5 generally is only used for their first party content, their first party game. There are so many third party exclusives they put out that I haven't checked out. Will I play Helldivers 2? Yeah, so I'm interested, but will I play it? We'll see. But as somebody who has a PS5 solely, essentially, with exceptions here and there for first party games, I have nothing, no outlook, no roadmap to look forward to this year. So, but yes, if PlayStation is your primary console, I mean, anyone who says there's nothing, that's not true. I mean, there's tons of third party games to play. You have PlayStation Plus you could sign up for, and there's lots of games in that subscription service to play. There's games to play, of course. It was the same thing in 2022 when Xbox had no first party games. I played my Xbox a ton, maybe almost every day. I turned on my Xbox. Well, tons of games to play, Game Pass and stuff. Concord is first party, and it's for 2024. Oh, oh, it's from Firewalk. Is there a release date for this? Firewalk is one of the recent acquisitions, right? PvP multiplayer. It is coming out on Microsoft Windows, so it's going to be on PC. This is what Google says. True. On the side there. And it's coming on PS5. PS5 and PC. So there we go. Interesting. So I'm going to already pat myself on the back here. I'm already right about this. I said PlayStation is going to be releasing first party onto PC day and date. Is that what they're saying? Concord is our new PvP. Concord is our new PvP multiplayer first person shooter coming to PS5 and PC in 2024. So yeah, sounds like they're releasing it day and date. So they're already doing it sooner than I expected. What is this game? I got. You know what? There. Who wrote that? Who told me code? Last. I stand corrected. If this game does release in PS4, in 2024, I am wrong, and they have one first party game releasing on the PS5. 2024 so far. I guess you know what? Last of Us 2 remastered. But it's like so hard. It's so hard to consider The Last of Us 2 remastered. It's like, come on. But the point is, there is a certain expectation from PlayStation's first party studios that people have every year, like new games, sequels, like big releases. And right now, we really don't know what's coming out from. We don't know where their big releases are coming from. There probably isn't a big first party release until 2020. You think PlayStation are holding back or shadow dropping anything? I think PlayStation right now is in a very big transitional period where they are trying to change their business, which is getting away from the full console exclusivity, putting games PC day and date like they're doing here with Concord. At least that's what it sounds like in that article. And they're sitting back and they're looking at the costs of how much it is to develop all of these big first party games, and they're in a huge transitional period that they need that time to just kind of sit back, transition, and then come out with the new PlayStation, basically, where we're going to see PlayStation games not just console exclusive, similar again to what Concord is. Like if you think about Xbox, right? Like Xbox had years that between like the Xbox One, right? The Xbox One had a great for like launch in terms of games that they had exclusive. Like it was better than the PS4. But then there was nothing, right? There was nothing over a few years between 20, I don't know, I can't remember the exact years, but let's just say 2015 to like 2017. The Xbox had a huge transitional period where they were sitting back and just nothing was happening or nothing was very great for the Xbox One. And then 2017 hits, Phil Spencer takes over, he comes out, talks about Game Pass. That was the changes that was happening behind the scenes. All that time we were running what was going on with Xbox and the Xbox Game Pass, and it was the ecosystem. I think PlayStation is going through something very similar right now where they were going to come out with some big announcements like clouds expanding, more games coming to PC, more mobile, all of this stuff. And they're going to come out with like a new PlayStation essentially. And I think it's going to be fine. I think they're going to do great. Like I don't think PlayStation is going away or dying or anything, but there is something happening behind the scenes. You can just tell from the firings, the closing of studios, the canceling of games. All of these things are not happening for fun. They're happening because they are looking at their financials and they're seeing their operating costs and their operating income, the margin getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And they have to figure out a way to make that margin bigger, which is we're going to see new PlayStation at some point. That's my theory. I always say I can be wrong because I am just a guy with a mic talking games. I could be wrong all the time, but that's my theory is what is happening right now. PlayStation, and it's going to be better. Thing is, people look at it like I look at it now, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Where are these games? Why aren't they coming out? I don't. Although I'm an Xbox fan and I'm definitely biased towards Xbox, my preference, I don't want my PlayStation to die. I absolutely don't want that to happen. I want to use my PlayStation. I want to be able to play great games, but I think they will come out on the other side better for the consumer than they are right now. Did I say the Xbox show is the 14th? The rumor is the week of the 14th. So it may not be the 14th. They did it on, I believe, the 25th last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they did it on the 25th. So what is that? 25th was a Wednesday. So maybe it'll be the Wednesday of that week if they do it the exact same. Maybe it'll be on the 17th. But yeah, the week of the 24th. Microsoft can, that's true. Microsoft can afford to fail. They're $1 trillion company. I don't know. RWK88. I don't know if it's 25th was last year. The rumor right now is that the show will be on the week of January 14th. My prediction, it will be on January 17th. That's my prediction as when that show will be. PlayStation is too scared to make those big changes because their fan base has spent far too much time bashing Xbox for those same things. They don't understand that the industry. I guess PlayStation hasn't shown them. Here's the thing. The PlayStation fans on social media who go exclusive, who bash anytime, who get upset over the changes that PlayStation makes, or they bash Xbox's ecosystem strategy. Those people, the reality is, if PlayStation pisses those guys off and they don't play on PlayStation, it probably isn't going to affect their business whatsoever. They need to have more broad reach for gamers. They just do with how much it costs to develop games. And the majority of people, if they have a PlayStation 5 right now and they're sitting there and PlayStation comes out tomorrow and announces that, hey, you can take this PlayStation 5 game and you can play it on your PC and you can play it on your phone and anywhere that you download this PlayStation app, 99% of them are going to be like, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm happy for this. More choice. This is great. The guys on Twitter who are like always talk about the high quality cinematic first party games aren't going to make a difference in how PlayStation does. I just downloaded Hell Let Loose. I'm going to try that. I downloaded. Yeah, that game is. I heard it's like very realistic, right? Very realistic first person shooter. I saw that. I was pretty excited, so I'm gonna try that game out. Switch 2 announced in March. Is this a rumor? Is this another rumor? The Switch 2 rumors have been all the time, but it would make sense because that's when they announced. That's when they did the first Switch. I remember picking out my Switch day one. I hope we get a Switch 2 this year. When the APK acquisition was announced, Microsoft had 105 billion in cash. A month before the deal closed, they had 144 billion. This is what's so that's crazy. They can go out and buy another huge publisher if they wanted to. Sony's only like a $300 billion company. Nice, RWKD. I'll give it a try. Any predictions for surprises at the Xbox Developer Direct? My only this is just completely like shot in the dark. I think we'll see some more Clockwork Revolution and maybe get announcement that the game is coming out in 20. That's my only shot in the dark. Will we get a shadow drop? I don't know. Like everyone's talking about the Kiln game as a shadow drop, but I think if Xbox can do a shadow drop every year, I think it would be amazing. But will they? I don't know how beneficial it really always is for them business wise. So I don't know if they would want to, but yeah. Think they need a Japanese dev? Yeah, I think that they will be getting some Japanese dev. I think they will be getting more. I don't think they'll get a huge publisher. Like I don't think they're going to be getting a Sega, although that would be. I think they will be getting some smaller Japanese devs. So probably, that's something that seems realistic. Sony Group market cap is 114.86 billion. PC gamers are generally not interested in the typical cutscene button mashing Sony games. Sony's also to understand that Microsoft's own Skype and Microsoft Office was just about everyone, including the military and school. Yeah, that's very true. Businesses, they also own Windows, right? Everyone uses Windows, and every business uses Windows. Not everyone uses Windows, of course, Linux and Apple, but you know what I mean. Do I think they will announce a Gears collection? So much going around. I think so. I do think so. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's an absolute no-brainer to announce a Gears collection. I don't see why they wouldn't. It would be insane. It would sell like crazy. Everyone would be playing it. The amount of users that are playing it and spending time signing up to Game Pass just to play it, it would be huge. So I think it's a no-brainer. So yeah. I'm not a pony nor an Xbox, but I will tell you this: PlayStation fan base is very strong, and they buy games. Now Microsoft will have to recoup the 70 billion, and that's why they still need to sell some games. They will be able to recoup the 70 billion. Like they have Call of Duty that's going to be selling on every single platform. They have Blizzard games that are going to be selling on multiple. They have World of Warcraft. I don't think it'll be like crazily hard for them to recoup that $70 billion. And I don't know if Hi-Fi Rush going on the Nintendo Switch is going to be a huge boost for them recouping the $70 billion. The question is, does putting Hi-Fi Rush on the Nintendo Switch Is it more beneficial with the amount of money they think they can make off of that versus the hit it may take to their from their core fan base that it would be against that, to their goodwill, to the marketing, to the PR? Is the trade-off worth it? That's the question. Xbox Series Y shadow drop. Let's go. I don't think Xbox will make a handheld. I just don't see them wanting to put more hardware out there that isn't like, when I say more hardware, I mean anything that isn't just a iteration iteration of the current consoles. But I would absolutely love to see Xbox make their own PC handheld. I don't think they will though, because they're partnering with like Asus and all these other companies. It's just way, it makes me way more sense for them to just partner Xbox Game Pass with all of these other companies than just make their own handheld. When these games take a long time to make, the quality is worth it. Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation is still astonishing, in my opinion. Sony Desert Wizards. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is a phenomenal game. I agree, and their games are nobody. I don't think anyone can deny that they are high quality games. They should have made Dishonored 3 instead of Blade. They should make both. They should absolutely make both. I would love a Fable collection for sure. That would be great too. I can't wait to see more of Fable. Maybe, you know what? That's my other thing I'm going to throw out there. Maybe will happen at the developer direct, where we will see more about Fable. All right. So, what? Thanks every. So Sundays 9 p.m. I'm gonna just come on here. I don't have any like real huge plan for my streams. I just come on here and talk. I was thinking just talk about the week's news, and I'll probably continue to do that. Like talk about what happened throughout the week, just for topics and stuff. But I think every week at 9 p.m. Sunday, just to stream and add um more interaction with you guys in the channel and the community, because it's been awesome, the growth, and I appreciate everyone watching and everyone subscribing and everything. But I'm gonna go for about an hour, and hour to 2 hours. Usually we're probably closer to 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours, and we're hitting the 2 hour mark right now. So I'm gonna call it a night. Make sure to watch my video tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. as usual, and throughout the week, and then we will stream again. Excited. Let me know what you guys think about this. If you just like chatting, I don't know if I'll expand out or anything. But I appreciate everybody stopping in to my stream when I hadn't streamed for 7 months, and the turnout here, 150 of you guys dropped in here, which is pretty insane. I really appreciate that. And we'll continue to do this. Hopefully 2024 is going to be a huge year. It's going to be a huge year for Xbox, hopefully a huge year for Plume Network, and we're going to grow in this thing. So appreciate you all, and I will catch you guys in the video tomorrow, as well as obviously next week at 9 p.m. Do a stream of Final Fantasy 14 when it comes to Xbox. You know what? That may be a good idea. Anyways, guys, have a good night, and I will catch you guys throughout the week and next